Sketch the graph of the given inequalities. So the first inequality that we're given here is the inequality that x is greater than or equal to 7. And so we want to get a picture of that on our number line here. And so since we're starting with 7, I'm just going to put the number 7 kind of right here in the middle of my graph. And it's always important to have more than just one value. We always want to have at least a couple of values around the key number that we're interested in. We don't need a ton, but just enough to give us a sense of what's the scale that we're showing here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 7. I'm going to do an 8 here, and I'm going to do a 6 here. I could certainly continue on, do 5 and 4, do 9 and 10. Um, this one doesn't show 0 anywhere on it, which is all right because I've established what the scale is. It's just that the 0 would fall off of my number line. So when we have the greater than or equal to, so I want to go back and think about that or equal to part. When we have that, the symbol that we're going to use on the number line is we're going to use a solid dot on that 7. And that solid dot is saying that the 7 is actually included as part of my solution. Because 7 is equal to 7, that point is actually included. And now we're looking for all the x's that are greater than or equal to 7. So just having it on 7 isn't enough. We know that the number 8 is greater than 7. We know that the number 9 is greater than 7. Somewhere down here is the number 27, which is greater than the number 7. And so we want to show on our number line that we're including all of those values going in that direction. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is where we have to be a little bit careful that our line actually shows. So if you're using a broader pencil or you're using a highlighter is sometimes a good thing to use. Um, that's a good way to show it so that your line shows on top of the number line. Sometimes we'll go up above the dot and draw kind of another line coming down that way. Or we could also show kind of a squiggly line here on our number line, just to be sure that we can see what direction we're going. If we're drawing the number line with a pencil and then we're showing the graph of our inequality with that same pencil, it can be hard to see. So use one of those methods to be able to be sure that your graph is easily seen on your number line. Our next inequality is x is less than -3. So again, we're going to start off by scaling our number line here. We're going to start with a -3 kind of there in the middle. Now we want to be careful. Remember that we're at the negative side here. So that means that 0 is up here. So this would be -2 and this would be -1. Remember that the values go backwards when we're going to the left with the negative numbers. So here would be -4 and here would be -5 and here would be -6. So now we have an inequality that does not involve the or equal to. This is just strictly less than. And so we're going to use an open circle this time on that -3. Because -3 would not be a solution to this inequality. -3 is not strictly less than -3, so that wouldn't work. So we put the open circle, and then looking for all of the values of x that are less than -3, well, that would be values like -4 and -5 and -10, which is down here, and -27 million, which is down here somewhere. So we're going to put our arrow going this way. So here's an example of where I'm just putting the arrow up above the line. And be sure that you show an arrow because our solutions don't stop when our pencil stops. The arrow shows that we keep going on and on forever for all of the values. Now, something to point out if you hadn't noticed this, notice that the direction of the arrow here in the inequality is the same as the direction of the arrow on our number line. Same thing is true here. If x is less than -3, notice that here our arrow is also going that same direction as the less than. So that's a really helpful thing to keep in mind. That only works though if your variable is on the left side of your inequality. So when you write your inequalities, be sure that the variable is always on the left side. Then you know that your arrow will always go the same direction as the arrow of the inequality. Just a little tip to help these go a little bit easier for you.